wherever you are, welcome to the program Midday Discourse on Global TV, coming your way live and direct from Nigeria's capital city. Whenever we come on board, we bring to you stories that are making headlines. Today we are looking at identity, talking about the root, talking about fashion. And we're glad to let you know that we have one man who has written his name in gold as far as fashion is concerned, giving Nigerians and foreigners the best outlook with an identity of what could be described as the best fashion design in Nigeria's capital city, Abuja. We'll be looking at what has been his main goal of achievement and how has he been sustaining these in the economic challenge that we are currently passing, and why has everyone in Nigeria's capital city who truly want to be looking nice goes to Baldon Fashion and Design right here in Nigeria's capital city. Let's take a break. When we come back, we introduce our guest and we will be looking at what makes him perfect choice for every gentleman, and why not the ladies, on the program Midday Discourse on Global TV right here in Nigeria's capital city. Mr. Biodun Balogun is in the studio, and we'll be looking at fashion in Nigeria's capital city. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll welcome our guests together with you. Don't go away. Glad to have you back on the program Midday Discourse right here on Global TV. And we are looking at one factory, one industry that is as old as man and is said to be one that you cannot talk about or live without. Of course, we have food, shelter, and clothes. And on today's edition of the program Midday Discourse on Global TV, we are looking at a man that has spent over 2 decades in making only the men beauty. He told us that he has a secret of keeping the men beauty, and why are the women also demanding that Baldon must also produce for them. And in case you want to look nice in Nigeria, you want to look nice out of the country, whether our traditional wear or the Western wear, Baldon has written his name in gold, and he will be dishing out some of those secrets that makes him taller than any other fashion design in Nigeria's capital city, Abuja, and beyond. Mr. Balogun Baldon, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
Okay, let's go straight. A lot of women have said, should I use the word bias, that you have deliberately denied the women folks the opportunity of enjoying what their husbands, their brothers, their friends have been enjoying from the excellent touch of your product.
Well, like I often tell people, the sky is big enough, you know, and it's really all about finding your own niche market and staying there, rather than dissipating yourself and spreading yourself thin. So for us as a brand, we've developed quite a lot of capacity and strength when it comes to the male folk, and we like to keep it, you know, at that. So it's not just about appeasing. You have to do it well. You have to do whatever you're doing. You know, we believe that we need to do it well. So that's, for us, is pretty important. And like I said before, we have good capacity when it comes to the men and the men folk. So we'd like to keep it like that. Yes, in maybe somewhere down the line, we could still revisit this this discourse and see how we can also accommodate the women. But like I always oftentimes say, I think the women actually have quite a lot of options, you know, vis-a-vis compared to us men. So it's just one more for the men, but I know that women have a lot more options, you know, than the men.
Baldon is my guest right here on Short Story, and let's go straight. This is one of the biggest factory I have seen in Nigeria's capital city. This is the beginning or the root of Baldon. Now let's look at the name Baldon. When you say Baldon, what does that really mean?
Okay, so the name came. It's just my two names. My first name is Adedoyin, and my surname is Balogun. So adding it together, the Bal, you know, from my surname, and removing the Y from my first name. I mean, Adedoyin, short form is Doyin, and that's how we got Baldon. I wanted a name that was easy to pronounce, easy to remember, and that's how we came across the name. Come about the name. Sorry.
So let's look at, for how long have you been dressing Nigerians?
So it's safe to say slightly over 25 years. I started right from university as an undergraduate during one of the several ASU strikes, and that's where I really discovered my knack for fashion and creative. My creative juice started flowing, and I never looked back since then.
Sometimes we are told that doctors hardly treat themselves. The dress you are putting on, is it made by a company? Are you part of this process?
So absolutely. So it's also important that as the set man, you are the first ambassador, you are the first person people see. What confidence do they have in giving you their brief vis-a-vis their clothes to make or their wardrobe to handle if they can't assess you on the go, and you can't be proud to say, oh, this was made by me. So it's very, very important for us. I am my own worst critic, and I try to use that, to build and improve on our systems and processes. Even so, I mean, it's very, very important that I wear my brand, like I said before. So when you step out there, you can actually get the view and the take from people who are either your clients or your prospective clients.
Okay, let's look at in a world that is constantly on the move. And yet, every time you are at the center of meeting a particular fashion at a particular period of time. What has kept you moving in spite of the hard economic situation we are passing through? You have still maintained quality as well as service delivery.
So there's something you said at the beginning. You talked about, and that's you are alluding to the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. When we talk about clothing, you talk about shelter, you talk about food. The truth of the matter is, no matter how complex the world gets, those basics will always really remain the bottom end and the widest part of the pyramid. So meaning that no matter how hard things get, people would always wear clothes. No matter how hard things get, people always need clothing and shelter and food. Now, when it now comes to the issue of quality, you build it and you try to ensure consistency. It's not something it's not a walk in the park and over a period of time, you keep on improving, you keep on adding, to your systems and processes to make it better. And that for us has been our story, that has been part of our journey. People will always gravitate to quality when they're treated right, when their products are also delivered as expected, then it's only to be expected that there will be repeat performance.
You have one of the biggest showroom in Nigeria's capital city, Abuja. I must commend you for contributing and reducing unemployment rate in the country and say a big thank you. Now, let's look at this work that you are doing. You say you started when things were not going on as far as strike is concerned.
Yes.
Were you born with this talent? Is anybody in the family that you want to trace fashion?
So growing up, my dad was quite a fashionable man, and I think I did pick one or two things from him. He was very, very, very circumspect and very meticulous.
Was he exposed to the machines you have today, or the all-in kind of one?
So he was not even in this field.
Okay.
He was just a businessman doing his thing, but he had a very good eye for taste and detail. And of course, as a young man, you grow up seeing these things. I never thought I would end up here, like I said, until the ASU strike started, and I started with T-shirts, But I tell you that, when I started making my first set of apparels, I think for me, not so much as the money, but the fact that the satisfaction on the client's faces, that's joy that you see. That for me is $1 million, just delivering, and people are able to say, oh, look, when I went out, I was commended, this cloth, it made me stand out and all that. That for me is, just makes my day.
You have succeeded in putting down your name as far as this industry is concerned. What is driving your customers? Why they keep coming to look at you? What is keeping their flag up?
Okay, so one is we try to pride ourselves as a very customer-centric brand, meaning that we try as much as possible to ensure that the customer feels warm. Very, very important. We also try to ensure that our timeliness, service delivery. So usually, especially in this industry, it is a well-known fact that artisans are known not to keep their word. You know that a lot of times there are disappointments and they don't ever keep, their end of the bargain vis-a-vis time of delivery. We've tried to change that narrative to say, okay, look, if we've agreed on Tuesday, we try as much as possible. So 9 out of 10 times I can say, we meet the mark. And that for us is very, very important. Aside from ensuring that the item we're delivering comes with the quality expected and, if possible, even exceeds it.
Baldon is the fashion house in Nigeria's capital city, Abuja, and this is the period we call the crucial period of fashion. And of course, Global TV felt it was right for us to bring him on board to tell us exactly how he has been doing. He has represented Nigeria in several events. When we come back after this break, we'll be looking at what keeps them dropping their traditional wares and then putting made in Nigeria courtesy of Baldon. This is Discourse on Global TV. Let's take our first break. When we come back, there will be more on the program. Fashion design that keeps you upgoing because of Baldon Fashion. Don't go away. An experienced teacher, we are told, is the best of all, and we have a man who has contributed tremendously in the fashion industry in Nigeria. We're glad to have him here live and direct this beautiful afternoon right here in Nigeria's capital city. We're talking about Baldon Fashion Shop that makes it easier, not only tradition as well as all kind of wears. But let's start with you. One should think that traditional wears should have been your first point of duty, but it looks like you're even getting it right in the borrowed culture of suit also, because I've met some foreigners in your shop and they're giving you thumbs up for delivery.
Yes, we are humbled and grateful that we are able to service quite a wide clientele from not just the local market but also international. The diplomatic community, some highly placed people there, up to some of the well-known political elites. Like I said before, the hallmarks remain the same, which is harping on the quality, harping on the attention to detail, and also the timeliness in delivery. So those are the things that I think people really look for. Once really people believe or know that they can trust in a brand, they'll always keep coming back.
Always coming back because he has his fingers, the golden fingers. Now let's look at some of these fabrics. Most of these fabrics are not produced by you, and there is always a challenge that when these fabrics are not in excellent mood, it will be difficult for you to deliver. What has kept you going with some of the fabrics?
Okay, so over a period of time, you get to understand the industry a bit more and you keep on adjusting. As an entrepreneur, as a fashion entrepreneur, it's important that you understand your value chain. You understand where your things are coming from, how do you source them, the lead times you take for a fabric to come from A to B, the things that can be sourced within the local market and the things that you need to import. Once you understand that and you're able to communicate it appropriately to the client, I think there won't be any problem. You know, oftentimes the challenge is that we try to overpromise and thereby under-delivering. You know, while we as a brand, we try to under-promise and over-deliver. You know, so like I said before, yes, while a lot of the fabrics we work with, fabrics, accessories are imported, which is unfortunate because that in itself is so much capital flight going. But it's what it is, and that's a discussion for another day. You know, so you need to work within the ambit of whatever you have in terms of availability of resources, and see how you can work within, which is why I said you need to understand the industry and the timing, the logistics, you know, of moving a fabric production point, the time for production, so that you're able to meet the customer's expectation. Is very, very important. And if it's not possible, you should say, okay, look, this won't be able to fly because of ABC, you know, and that's what we try to do at every given point in time.
Yeah, but look, can someone contact you to seek for an advice for the kind of outfit, for the kind of occasion? Can you have such services?
Yes, absolutely. So
okay.
Quite a lot of our clients do get wardrobe advisory, you know, style advisory based on what they would like to wear based on the event. And you see, fashion has gone, it's only 360. It's really not where our fathers used to be. You know, it's a lot more digital now. Everybody wants to look good for that big occasion. Everybody wants to ensure that their best foot is put forward. So yes, of course, we do that. And of course, like I tell my staff also, when dealing with people, you have to not just know the event, you have to also understand the character of the person, you know, the career, because all these things sort of fit, you know, in
character.
Yes, character is very, very important. Yes, the temperament of the person.
Okay.
For instance, if somebody who is melancholic, who is calm, would hardly wear bright colors. They like keeping it mellow. What is that thing that you learn in the job? You know, whereby somebody's profession, for instance, you know, has a way of affecting the dress sense. So I give a typical example. Somebody in the showbiz industry would naturally gravitate towards brighter colors, you know, like red, the orange, the yellow, because they want to be seen. They want to show for the business. All right. Now, somebody in the banking finance sector or in the legal profession, by default, by training, they will do more conservative colors, like black, like gray, very sober colors. So it's rarely do you see outliers going out of that scheme. Very, very rarely. You know, so you need to understand the person, which is where the character and the temperament comes in. You need to understand the career pathway, the profession, and I may say you also need to understand or have a fair sense of their age demography.
At what point do you get to know your customer? All this.
So first and foremost, so when I hear this, first thing I always say is you have to even first get to know yourself.
Yes.
Because it's with the knowledge of self that you can now use to apply to know your customers.
Okay. As fashion, we are taking a look at, but it looks like the women seems to be more in fashion than the men. And I felt I should put this question to you. My wife has more shoes, more clothes than I. Is that how it is?
So naturally, women gravitate more towards fashion.
Okay.
Don't forget that when a woman was made, we the men were sleeping.
Oh, really?
You know, yes. So they are, and we were made from the mud. They were made from us, from the rib. So by default, they naturally are finer, and they like to cut that attention and would pay more attention to their wardrobe than the men. So a lady would have a green bag, and wants a different shade of green because it's different. So she says, "Oh, so I have the green I have is army green. I want an olive green, you know, a lemon green, you know." But a man will say, "Look, I have a green, so it's fine, you know, and I'm good to go." In fact, men will tell you, "Look, I have clients that say, look, they only do black shoes, so when they wear that black shoes and they're good to go, you know, they don't have." That is the makeup of a man, really, you know, doesn't allow them do too much, even though it's changing. I must say the narrative is changing. We have a lot of stylish men who are, I mean, they are really doing justice to every apparel, every outfit, and they're very detailed, very meticulous when they show up, you know.
Let me put you on a hot seat, and I hope your wife is listening. Is it true that women tailors find it very difficult to deliver because the women have so much, the fitting, the this, the that? Is that what is scaring you from them, or what?
So,
and is it true?
So the truth of the matter is, even in tailoring, there are different aspects, right? So you do have the different aspects. For what you are talking about, you're talking about the haute couture, you know, which is made to measure, right? Made to measure, yes, you have a lot of back and forth involved. You have to do your fitting, and of course, women, depending on the person, there are a lot of fluctuations in sizes. For instance, a lady who has just gotten married, the chances are she'll take in. Now, if you've measured her, right, before she even knew that she was pregnant, and maybe by virtue of morning sickness, she hasn't come on time to do her fitting or pick up her clothes. When she comes and there's a bulge, you know, obviously, you know that that particular outfit needs to be altered, you know, to fit, you know, but it's, then again, like I said, different. So that is just one aspect. You know, there's also the mass garment, which is the ready to wear. So when we go into shops, when we travel abroad, you know, most of the shops we will shop at, they already have those things stocked in sizes, right? That is ready to wear, meaning that if you know your body size, your body type, you know, okay, I size 12, size 14, you just for you to go to the rack, pick it up, and you're good to go. You know, so, I mean, it really depends on where you want to play. I often tell people that fashion in itself is such a wide industry. It is huge, and it does have the capacity to be one of our major, if not our major, foreign revenue earners, if we get it right. And it's been proven by countries like Bangladesh, you know, and India, and Pakistan, you know, and some of the Asian tigers. You know, so if we get it right, really, there's so much opportunity and potential, you know, to be harnessed.
Baldon Fashion is what we are looking, and we'll be taking you to the showroom in the next 2 minutes. We'll be looking at what it takes to take a dress out of this shop. But when we come back, you'll be telling us, why should I go to a tailor require him to sew clothes for me within hours, days, or weeks? Why don't I just jump into the market and pick ready-made? As I'm talking, my friend here in the studio is smiling because ready-made are already available, while the headache of going to meet a tailor. Let's take a break. Let's drive straight to the studios of talking about the showroom of Baldon. In the next 1 minute, when we come back, we'll be having answers to this. Let's see what it takes to have a showroom.
And yeah, I want to make certain it looks good.
Wow. Good.
Can you say this? I like this.
I like this.
Yes, Baldon. Baldon.
Hold on.
Yeah.
I got to put these on too. So that's more just, you know, about town.
You can turn around, sir.
Like this?
Turn around. Good.
Okay.
Again. Wow.
Yeah?
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Fantastic.
Sir, please, just hold this for us.
Let me think.
Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, the reason I love Baldon and the work he does is because I've got a unique body style, and I'm tired of having to just get off the rack and then a poorly fitted suit. And when I found out about Baldon, it made a lot of sense as I come into country and do business to have Baldon fit me in a proper suit, because I'm tired of looking like I'm wearing a potato sack, and it's really important that the suit contours, because it sends the message to the business people that you do business with, or government, that you care about your business. And so the best way of communicating that is the first impression, which is the suit, and the suit must fit. And so I'm excited to be able to have Baldon do suits for me, because that's a huge part of the battle of sending the right message. So thank you, Mr. Baldon, for the work that you've done for me and making me look good.
Yeah, but that does not only limit his services to suit. He also have an African wears. Have you ever tested any of our African wears from Baldon?
No, I haven't, but I think that's going to be next up. If he makes this look that good, then I'm excited to try his other services. So yeah, it's all good.
So, from what you see, it means Nigerian tailors have come of age.
Repeat the question.
I mean, Nigerian tailors are good.
Nigerian tailors are excellent. I've had a few other tailors in the United States, and they don't seem to have the care, the detail, the passion. Even something simple, just this is small detail but important. The way the inside of the suit has been stitched, it's just, I haven't had anything like that in any other country. So I'm very, very pleased with the work in Nigeria. So go Nigeria.
Thank you. Thank you.
Excuse me, let me see the inside again.
Okay.
That inside is displayed.
All right. Yeah.
Okay.
This side, and also, yeah, it's there's my name, but there's Baldon's name, which I think is as important as my name. So so we're in business together.
That's good.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, taking you to the showroom as well as taking you to the factory somewhere in Nigeria's capital city, and the showroom here is Baldon Fashion here in Nigeria, putting us #1 in Africa, as you've heard it from a foreigner, if you want to use that word, commending Nigeria. So Baldon has contributed tremendously to the development of our great country, Nigeria. Let's take a break. When we come back, we will look at the reason why I should go to a tailor and not just go to a shop and pick my dress. And here I go. Let's take a break. Midday Discourse on Global TV from Nigeria's capital city, Abuja. My guest has been the master himself in the industry of fashion, clothing the entire country and beyond. I'm talking about Mr. Balogun, who is our guest here. He is the CEO of Baldon Fashion and Design in Nigeria's capital city. We'll be looking at his contribution to the economic of our great country, Nigeria. As you rightly heard, he has put Nigeria on the forefront of fashion design. But I want to find out from him, what are the advantages, if there are? Why should I go to a tailor, wasting my time, so to say, to measure me, and then sometimes finding it difficult to keep to the time? And if I have my money, why don't I jump into the shop and pick what we call ready-mades or krika or ready to use?
Fantastic question. And it's funny that you're asking this question. Remember the interview that you just had now?
Okay.
And he said because of his body type. The truth of the matter is...
So what do you mean by body type?
So there are different body types.
Okay.
You have people who are bottom heavy, you have people who are top heavy,
okay,
meaning that really and truly everybody is unique. Some people are short, some people are tall. You know, now the ready wear, as we call it, you know, are clothes which were made based on a set of averages.
Okay.
All right. Now, the implication of that is that how many people, what's the basis of them forming or creating that size of average, right? Meaning that I can have, my neck could be that of a 17.5, but the body, I have a body of a 16.5 or an 18. You know, there's no cloth that I will buy off the rack that will be seemingly perfect, right? So nothing really can beat having something tailor-made for you once you get the good craftsman, you know, who can design it, because all your features, you have a pot belly, you have a big chest, you have big biceps, you work out, you are skinny, you're thin, you know, you like your things free, you like it form-fitting. All that will be taken into consideration when creating your garment. By the time you wear your garment, you know that this was made for you. And when there are issues, of course, you can now do a fitting to remove or to add whatever noticeable things you want done to the cloth, as against having to manage something that was made, you know, not with you in mind. It was just made for the general public. So once you want to be distinguished and you want to set yourself apart, then you have, I mean, you do go to made to measure, where it's specific, it's bespoke. And that's where the word bespoke came from. You know, when the fabric is spoken for, you know, for the client. So it's been spoken for, it's been taken by Mr. Clinton, and it's for you.
Okay, let's look at your product. Tell us from what, ranging from Agbada, Senator, South, Native. Just tell us exactly a full package that you.
I always try to be a bit evasive when it comes to this question, and I'll tell you why. Because each garment has its own character and different price points. What we've tried to do is, as much as is possible, we've tried to expand our offering so that at every given point in time, you can come in at a price point and we can work around your budget. You know, of course, with the present realities of the Nigerian state, there are things that we also have to consider. Things like power, which is a main driver of cost. You know, but other than that, I mean, the design, the nature of design, how intricate, how complex it is. So from as little as what, 20,000 to as much as 200,000, depending on what it is.
Depending on what it is. But you talked about, now, how have you been moving with the fashion? At this point in time, they will say this. At this point in time, this will come in vogue. At this point in time, this will be gradually moving. Just a few years ago, like 5 or up to date, the issue of preparing our own kind of dresses, the sao, the kaftan came in vogue. And I put it to you that very soon this will be gradually showing the exit door. How are you meeting with this demand that is a kind of evolution every day?
Okay, so the truth of the matter is fashion is very dynamic. You know, it's dynamic and very, very fluent. It's not just peculiar to Nigeria or Africa, and that's why even in Europe you have what is called fast fashion, because they understand the transiency, they understand the fluency of fashion, and that people, especially this younger generation, will not want to keep attires for too long and without buying fresh ones. Hence the word fast fashion. It just comes and goes, and is easily disposable. Now, bringing it back to Nigeria, you will notice that there's a nexus between our fashion industry and our political class. So let's start from 1999. You know, between 1999 and 2007, you notice there was an upsurge in things like Ankara, Adire. Why? Because the man at the center, you know, that's President Olusegun Obasanjo, you know, adorned it both in his agbada and in his up and down, the buba and shokoto. So naturally, people gravitated towards it. The likes of Madam Okonjo-Iweala, you know, with her unique head tie, yes, you know, has to be mentioned there. You know, and of course, it now moved to the Yaradua / Goodluck Jonathan era. Now, if you also notice what happened is that during that brief stint of Yaradua, people went back to almost the General Sani Abacha days, where he had the long kaftans, it was getting longer, free hands and all that. Because Yaradua's tenure was short-lived and morphed into Goodluck Jonathan, what had happened is that people now started wearing the Ijaw-styled outfit, both the Etibo, the Woko, you know, with the chains and all that. So there's that nexus. You can actually see it, you know. But as a fashion designer, it's important that you are very, very versatile. It's important that you are adept in the polity adept in very knowledgeable as regards fabric, as regards texture, what is going to work. For instance, now we are moving into our own Harmattan season, meaning that things are the temperature is getting hotter. That means automatically that people want cooler clothes. You must not understand that. So lighter fabrics, breathable fabrics, cottons, as against if you were in Europe, it would be the opposite, because they are entering winter, so they want thicker clothes. So you must understand that every area has its own go-to. Every area has its own uniqueness, and that's why even as a fashion designer, there are things you must be, like the lawyers will say, they are learned. You must know quite a lot, not a little now, quite a lot about your environment, your operating environment, the times, the seasons, the people you are working with, the fabric types, fabric textures, why it's better, the treatment of this, the quality of this, the laundry or dry cleaning. You must understand those intricacies, so you're in a good position to also advise, your clients.
At what time do you feel to give up? Has there been any time you're a little bit not happy with the entire process, either from your tailors or your customers? Has any time you feel this is hectic for me? Yeah,
so the truth of the matter is those feelings will always come, especially working in a country like Nigeria, where sometimes it can really get frustrating. But the passion you have keeps you going. And when you see the bigger picture, every day I wake up with a renewed zest, because I see so much potential, so much that we have gifted artisans, gifted workmen, people who God has bestowed immense talent, and it's a land that is really, 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 really just waiting to be explored. There's so much potential. It's tough, no doubt, and I say this, with all sense of responsibility. It's tough, but in that toughness also are opportunities. But we need to have that staying power. Yes, sometimes you just want to throw in the towel, but when you're just able to look beyond the now and see the future, you're just hanging there, knowing that it will only get better.
Yes, a visit to your showroom shows that you have some of the modern machine, you have some of the machine that you're gradually winding out. Where did you get your support? Would you want organization, the government, if given enough opportunity, what will your factory look like?
So this is the life I've lived for most of my adult life. So I can tell you quite a bit about the garment industry, and not just in Nigeria, but globally. We're still scratching the surface. We're still barely scratching the surface. With more support, a lot more can be done. Presently, we have about just a little under 100 staff. That in itself has the capacity to be upscaled to 1,000 to 5,000. In Bangladesh, what you call a big factory, in my place, is more of a roadside tailor. In Bangladesh. Because a medium-sized factory in Bangladesh has 1,000, small size, sorry, has 1,000 to 2,000, 2,005 people. Medium size, 5,000 to 10,000 people. Then you have the large ones, about 10 to 20,000 human beings running shifts, churning out fabrics, exporting. That is their oil, So it's garment production, from the textile industry to the garment industry. The opportunities, even as a country, is limitless, absolutely limitless. But we have to rebuild the value chain from the farmers, through to the ginneries, the textile mills, to the marketplace, especially because we've had a lot of foreign influences, cheap imports, substandard imports, fairly used. That has also added a bit of a strain on local production, because the cost of production can't benchmark, you can't meet up, with those people. So somebody is selling what we call okrika, which is thrift, the fairly used, and sometimes not even fairly used items, or maybe the factory rejects. A shirt is going for 800 naira, 1,000 naira. That's not even the cost of half a yard.
Baldun is my guest on the program Midday Discourse on the Global TV, and we are looking at the fashion, which is, if given the necessary opportunity, Nigeria will top the list among countries in terms of fashion industry. Let's look at your competitors in the country. We are told that some factory or garment houses are shutting down. If that is true,
right,
how does that trouble you and your competitors in this industry?
Well, it's not just in the garment sector.
Okay.
I mean, across board, we've heard of companies relocating to Ghana, you know, just to get better operating.
No, the one that affects you.
The one that affects me.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, so it's what it is. You know, would always have those shifts and that sort of sieve the boys from the men, if I may use that word. You know, especially as things like energy costs, which is a real driver, you know, like I said before, of production. Energy, power, be it public power, AADC in Abuja, or your diesel, you know, it's a major. Now, how are you able to translate and transfer that cost through your product to the customer and get a willing customer, you know, to pay that amount is now where, that's the tricky part. Are you able to match the competence, the quality, the delivery, the timeliness, you know, and benchmark it alongside the prices? Those are things that you need to juggle. Your ability to juggle it, you know, is what makes you, is what keeps you in the business. Once you drop one of those balls, you're going to have issues. So it's about understanding your client, understanding the market, and understanding how the best you can navigate.
Understanding yourself gives you an edge over what you are doing. The program is Midday Discourse. We have been talking to Mr. Biodun Balokun. He is the Executive Director of Baldun Fashion right here in Nigeria's capital city. Now, this is the much talk about season that you have been waiting. The seasons where you run the generator 24/7. The season where you work throughout the day and your customers are running after you. This is the season. How do you intend to cope now?
Do you have?
Midday Discourse, Mr. Biodun is my guest, and we are looking at fashion in Nigeria. Now, I have a question for you, and I guess this is a question for many. Now, when tailor fails one in an event where you have all the agreement, all the commitment, that and customers will play their own part, but tailors will be the one that will fail. Why has it been so? And do you experience this with your customers knocking at your door saying their dresses should have been ready before time?
Okay, so first and foremost, we're dealing with human beings. All right, the tailors are first and foremost human beings, and at the risk of sounding like the devil's advocate, being in the industry, I understand a lot more things than the average person. The truth of the matter is, for a lot of the tailors that maybe disappoint, there are a couple of things. One, like capacity. How much capacity do they have? You know, for a lot of our artisans, it's just a one-man business. They've not been able to grow, first, their mental capacity, you know, before you're talking about bringing other people on board to help them, you know, and assist them in carrying out the task to deliver on time. That's one. Two, we have the information gap. There's a knowledge gap. A knowledge gap in the sense that if you know better, you do better. If I know as a tailor that if I bring in more people, even though I'll make less, if we churn out more in less time, it will actually add to my bottom line. So there's an information problem. Three is we have a training problem. Unfortunately, a good number of our vocational institutes are moribund. You know, so a lot of the tailors that we know today learned on the streets, very informally. You know, and that in itself means that there's no structure in terms of what they've learned. There's no curriculum. And that's why, not just even in the garment industry, even in the building, people will get tailors and POP people from neighboring countries. You know, it's all part and parcel of the systemic failure, if I may use that word, you know.
That's the size of today's edition of the program Midday Discourse right here on Global TV. We have been looking at the fashion where a Nigerian has truly written his name in gold by representing Nigeria positively with the number of awards we have seen and from testimonies from customers. I am told that corporate bodies also do partner with him to make things easy when it comes for looking excellently, fashion, and site attraction. And so far, that's how far we can go on today's edition of the program, Midday Discourse on Global TV. I want to say special thanks to the Chief Executive of Baldon Fashion Design in Nigeria's capital city. Thank you very much, Mr. Balogun.
Thank you very much for having me.
Until we come your way again in Nigeria's capital city, if you truly want to look good, there is one place you should go, and that is the Baldon Fashion. Now, tell us your handle. You have any social media?
Yes, we do. We're on Instagram and Facebook at Baldon Clothiers. At Baldon Clothiers.
Okay, at Baldon Clothiers. Yes, that's exactly where you need to go. Same time, same station on the program. Join us tomorrow for another fresh edition of the program Midday Discourse on Global TV. And I'm Agbo Clinton saying it's good to look good. Enjoy the rest of the day.